What's going on, everyone? The Lakers trading for Rui Hachimura was an absolute steal, getting him for 3 second-round picks and still keeping their 2023 second-round pick is huge, which now they can use in a potential future trade. He's a guy, he's got size, he's young, he has athleticism, 6'8", 230 pounds, can play both forward spots, 3-and-D style. He is struggling a little bit from 3 this season, but playing next to LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, I really do imagine that he's going to be able to elevate his game, be more efficient, be more effective. He's a guy that can really operate in the mid-range. But beyond that, this very likely is the first sign of a Lakers trade kind of moving forward, right? I don't imagine that this is going to be where they stop. And one of the names that keeps popping up is Josh Richardson. Now, Josh Richardson, based on reports, can be required for 1 second-round pick. That would be absolutely huge. Take Patrick Beverley, second round, go get Josh Richardson. He's a guy, 3-and-D style. He's 29 years old. He's a guy that could be a longevity piece. He's got decent size at 6'5" for a shooting guard. It's like a 7-foot wingspan. So gives you some length, gives you some size, and again, gives the Lakers another option on the trade market. But there are reports coming in. I mean, obviously the San Antonio Spurs, they're a team that's been linked to a Lakers trade since the offseason when they were trying to be the third team in a Kyrie Irving trade, and we've just heard them continuously popping up along the way. Well, of course, makes sense. The Lakers and the Spurs, their trade talks could still be going on. We got a report from Air Alamo, which is a Spurs insider. They talked about how the San Antonio Spurs still really value Russell Westbrook because they want to get over the salary cap threshold, which they are currently under. Not that the penalty is huge, but if you could reach that cap and then also get some assets in the process for guys that you're probably going to lose this offseason, why wouldn't you want to do that? And it makes sense that we're getting even more reports from the Spurs side. So we got this report. Trade talks between the Spurs and the Lakers that involve Russell Westbrook are still alive per SpursTalk.com. The Lakers are interested in Jakob Poeltl, Josh Richardson, and Doug McDermott. So these three, again, are the guys that have been linked to the Lakers for some time. Jakob Poeltl is a solid defensive, low-post type of center. He's not really the floor spacer or the 3-and-D style, but you do have Thomas Bryant, you do have Anthony Davis. Winning Gabriel has shown that he can kind of knock it down a little bit, although he's not like a true center size. He's more power forward size. Hachimura, he's a guy that could play the power forward, and many people want to see the Lakers go get a center. The beauty of Jakob Poeltl is he's still young enough to where you could have him for the next several seasons. He's also a guy that could come off the bench. He could start next to AD. You could really kind of interchange him in a multitude of ways. He also gives you a different look. He's also an excellent passer for a big man, so he's a guy you could run your offense through a little bit and can pass out of the low post. And then Josh Richardson, many people miss and wish that we had KCP. Josh Richardson is essentially your KCP 2.0. People also seem to forget that KCP was not KCP until he got to the Lakers, right? Like, he was not doing what he was doing until he got to Lakers, and he just evolved and grew and just blossomed and turned into this really 3-and-D style shooting guard, small forward, which now look at him with Denver. Josh Richardson can kind of follow that same mold, kind of follow that same standard. He would be an upgrade regardless, and a savvy vet that has been in the league for some time now. Doug McDermott is a dead-eye shooter. He's a guy that gives you some good size on the wing defensively. He's not very good defensively, but he's a guy that has some size that could funnel into an Anthony Davis, guys like that, Jakob Poeltl, and also just be a solid three-point shooter. The Lakers desperately need some three-point shooting. Hachimura should be able to elevate his three-point shooting, I believe. He's a guy that shot 44, just under 45% last season. I think, not saying that he'll get to that point, but I could see him going from like 34% to like maybe 35, 36, if we're really lucky, 37%. But get a guy like Josh Richardson, he could shoot the lights out, and he's a guy that could give you, a solid contribution, whether he's starting, coming off the bench. He's a guy that has put up 30-point games even this season. Off the bench, he put one up for the San Antonio Spurs. Doug McDermott is a guy, you're getting three guys that could be rotation guys, starting level guys, and also really contribute in many areas of need for the Lakers. I don't think this is a bad move at all. Now, obviously, Russ has been great for the Lakers. I would hate to see Russ go, especially me. I mean, if you've been subscribed to this channel long enough, you know how I feel about Russell Westbrook. You know how much I've defended Russell Westbrook, to my detriment at times. But nonetheless, a big fan of Russ. But if the right trade is there that makes sense, I think you do it, especially if you don't plan on re-signing or you don't think you're going to be able to re-sign Russ this season. You're not going to have a ton of cap space now because you got to re-sign Hachimura. You're probably going to re-sign Austin Reeves. There's pretty much all of your cap. So you might as well go get guys that you could have for the long haul that not only help this season, but seasons going forward. So if you could do this 3-for-1 deal, all of a sudden you got Hachimura, you got LeBron, you got AD, you got Austin Reeves, right? You got Max Christie. And then on top of that, you have Doug McDermott, Josh Richardson, Jakob Poeltl. Now you're bare minimum 8 guys deep. You still have your taxpayer mid-level, biannual, and now the Lakers could really kind of round out a competitive roster that maybe can compete for a championship for the next several seasons. Jakob Poeltl is also a guy that gives you a little bit of AD insurance, right? He's a guy that can come in, and if AD's out, he can fill that void a bit. And you're probably losing Thomas Bryant, if we're being honest. And so Jakob Poeltl would give you that Thomas Bryant insurance. So you basically would just trade for these guys, re-sign all these guys, and now the Lakers have several pieces going forward for the next, several seasons, and likely would be a contender. Now, it just comes down to compensation, right? But if Josh Richardson is only valued right now at 1 second-round pick, Doug McDermott, let's say, is valued at a second-round pick. Jakob Poeltl, let's say, is maybe a first-round pick. You could take, if you're the Lakers, you could take Russ, a first-round pick, and 2 seconds, and go get these 3 guys, right? And then you still have moves that you can make. You'd still have a first-round pick. You'd still have Patrick Beverley and Lonnie Walker that then you could go take and maybe go do go do a Boyan trade. Take that other unprotected. Imagine if you could get these 3 with Boyan Bogdanovic. Let's say you get, you got Hachimura, you got LeBron, AD. I mean, come on. Like, this team would just be stacked. And you'd have a trade exception. So maybe you could even use the trade exception and get like Alec Burke and then really hit a home run, because you'd have enough through the trade exception to get Alec Burke. So maybe you could take, because the Lakers have roughly 4 second-round picks that they could trade. Let's say you did a first and 2 seconds for these 3 guys. Then you could go and take the other 2 seconds and a first and go get Alec Burke and Boyan Bogdanovic. You're probably the deepest team in the league. You're probably good enough to win a championship. I mean, even if AD, even without AD, you're probably good enough to win a championship. You're literally 10 to 12 players deep. You got shooting, you got size, you got length, you got centers, you got everything. Everything you could ask for. I think that this is the move that really could kind of turn the tides for the Lakers, get the trade exception, get 3 quality players, or even if you don't get Jakob Poeltl, even if you just got Josh Richardson, Doug McDermott, then you get like a $22 million trade exception, which is enough to get Boyan, which means maybe instead of them, looking at it as like, oh, well, we don't really want Lonnie Walker, we don't really want, a Patrick Beverley. Okay, well, sure. Tell you what, we'll give you the trade exception and we'll give you a first-round pick. Maybe that would be more of value. Or, if they like Lonnie Walker, maybe you could do the trade exception and Lonnie Walker and get, like I said, Alec Burke and Boyan, 2 guys that shoot 43+%. That would be incredible. I think these 3 would really help a lot. And with Hachimura, it helps to now kind of push your chips to the table a little bit and kind of go get several pieces, right? Now if you did these 3, now you turned basically 2 point guards into a power forward, a small forward, a center, and a shooting guard. Like, that's pretty good. You just did a 4-for-1 swap. You're probably going to have to cut some guys and waive some guys, but, you figure it out. You get rid of like JTA because you do have 1 roster spot open. So let's say you get all 3. Let's just say, Doug McDermott fills in Russ's spot, right? And then you have the open roster spot for Josh Richardson. And then you could just waive, like a JTA or something like that. And now you got the roster spot for Jakob Poeltl. I think that could be solid. Maybe you could even convince the Spurs to take on like a Damian Jones that could be solid as well, right? He's a young center that he hasn't been good for the Lakers. He hasn't even really played for the Lakers, but he was really good for the San Antonio Spurs. If the Spurs lose Jakob Poeltl, they could probably use a center. Why not take a young center that's only $2 million? And then there you go. Trade, Russell Westbrook and, Damian Jones, and then get these three guys back. You could make it work, is my point. And I really do think that could be a solid move for the Lakers. The Spurs deal is up there as one of the better deals, in my opinion, for Russell Westbrook. If you only have to give up 1 first and let's say 2 seconds, that still gives you a lot of leverage and a lot of play to go make other moves. Like I said, you could still go get Bojan Bogdanovic, or go after Terry Rozier, or go after, maybe you could just get Buddy Hield, right? Or maybe you could even work out a 3-team deal and maybe send Jakob Poeltl to like the Pacers and get Miles Turner or something. You could work out multiple things to kind of make whatever combination you like work. And I really think that that's something that the Lakers are hopefully exploring right now and should continue to explore. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. What do you think of the Spurs deal? What do you think of the Lakers kind of, still having these conversations and these discussions with the Spurs? Is this a deal that you want to get done? Is this a deal that you'd pass on? Is this a deal that you think, it depends on how they fit, what the role is? Would you want Doug McDermott and Josh Richardson? Would you want Josh Richardson and Jakob Poeltl? Would you want all three? Like, what is your combination that you'd prefer? Do you want as big of a trade exception as possible? Do you want like a mid-tier one? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear them. So let me know down in the comment section below.